This week we're talking about what's on everyone's mind, and that's food. Food in the Disney parks, that is. This is episode 4. I'm Sariah.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. So food in Disney, sometimes people get concerned. It's expected to be a little bit pricey, which it is. But people sometimes will think that food in the parks, you're limited to just burgers and fries and things like that. But there's actually a really good range of food, especially as you get into some of the restaurants, the sit-down restaurants and things. But before we actually get into the different kinds of food options in the parks, I wanted to first talk about the forms of payment that you can use to purchase your food. Of course, cash is always accepted. Well, actually, right now, cash isn't accepted at Disney World because of COVID. In normal circumstances, and I'm assuming it'll probably go back to where cash is accepted, that's one form of payment. But credit cards and debit cards. Also, surprising, a lot of people don't know, but you can use Disney gift cards to pay for food at most locations. In Disney World especially, there are sometimes some locations that are not actually Disney owned. And so at those places, they don't. Actually, Disneyland also has the Ghirardelli shop in the Disney California Adventure Park. That's not a Disney store or a Disney restaurant. So that one, you would not be able to use a Disney gift card. But most of the property restaurants and food kiosks even will accept Disney gift cards. And that's one way that is helpful to stay on a budget, would be to bring your gift cards, and that's how you know you're not going to go over your budget. It's also a way that you can save up without spending it accidentally in another areas by getting gift cards as you're saving up for your trip and stuff. So that's always a good way to prepare and budget for and plan for how you're going to pay for food during your trip. Now at Disneyland Resort, there is not really a dining plan. There used to be, but that's long gone. There is a dining plan at the Walt Disney World Resort. And so that's another option on how to pay for your food. And basically it's you purchase credits, or you purchase the dining package. There are different levels of the package, but depending on what level you get, you'll have credits that you can then use to purchase your meals or food items. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that this podcast, because we will have another episode that talks about Disney dining plans, because that is a really good option for people to consider, and it's good to be aware of what those options are, because like I said, they have varying types of packages. But that's another way you can pay for it. The benefit of that is it's all prepaid. So you pay for it when you're booking your trip, or you can add it to a booked trip before you travel. And it's all paid for up in advance. You don't have to worry about a surprise bill after your trip, the credit card bill coming due or something like that, because you paid for it up front. And so it's very convenient that way. So those are the typical forms of payment that you're going to use. And all of the things that we talk about will kind of, you can, like I said, just about all of them you can use those forms of payment at. All right, so the first type of location that you can get food at in the parks would be like
kiosks.
Yeah, like the food kiosks or food carts. I don't know what they call them officially. I call them kiosks, but just the stand alone little carts, and these are typically going to be snacks, sodas and bottled water as well. You would think, and they are mostly known for the snacks that might not be quite as healthy, but they also have like carts that have fruit or pickles, which I don't know if that's a lot of sodium. It's technically healthy, I think. I don't know. But anyhow, so these are scattered throughout the parks. They do have general areas where you'll always find some, but they're not like buildings, and they can get moved out of the way for parades or things like that.
And there tends to be 2 different types. One for like ice cream kind of.
Right, they have the nice frozen, the carts that have the dry ice, the the frozen, the freezers.
And then the other carts that have like
Warmer foods,
Yeah.
the hot foods, or just snacks and stuff. So, all right, what would you say is one of your favorite food items from the kiosks?
Churros.
She accidentally misspoke that earlier today too. I was like, Cheerios. You like to eat Cheerios at Disneyland? I don't remember ever eating Cheerios at Disneyland.
I mean churros.
Churros, yes. I'm gonna say this is my favorite Disneyland kiosk treat as well. The churros at Disney. Now, I will say at Disney World, this is not a priority to me because Disney
Yeah.
World, I think they really pretty much just have your regular churro.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have special flavors. Disneyland, people, if you're used to Disney World, you need to get yourself to Disneyland and to try those churros because they're seasonal. They have lots of different flavors. So much fun. We are a little bit of a churro addict when we go to the Disneyland park. I will have a list of what I know that they have during that stay, and we will try to hit each of the flavors that I have on my list that I want to try. And I'm going to tell you a tip. Go with a churro eating buddy, because then you can just keep getting the different flavors but splitting them, so you're really only eating half of them.
Yeah.
And that's how we justify having one or sometimes two churros a day, because we split them all the time. But yeah, so do you remember, do you have a favorite flavor of churro?
No, I don't, because I just really like all of them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
My favorites from the past, my very favorite was probably a red velvet cake one they had during a holiday season a few years back. I also was a huge fan of a s'mores version. I remember that one specifically being it from the Disney California Adventure park. Those were probably my two favorite. I also really liked they had a carrot cake one over by the Haunted Mansion one year. Oh my goodness, there's just so many good flavors. Some of them come with special dips, like that carrot cake one had cream cheese dip. Oh my goodness, it was so good. So anyways,
I remember that one.
You do remember that one?
Yeah, that was
good.
really good.
So that's my favorite as well, especially at Disneyland. But if we're at Disney World, and I don't know if this is my favorite, but it's what we get the most of, is popcorn.
Yeah.
Disney World, I don't do it so much at Disneyland, but at Disney World we'll get the souvenir bucket, and then you refill it for just not much. It's like $1 or $1.50 or something. It does vary from location to location. Sometimes even within the same park, might be a slightly different charge to refill, but they're pretty inexpensive to refill. And I could be totally remembering the total wrong now because I don't really pay attention. We just swipe and take it, but it's really small compared to getting the whole bucket of popcorn. But you just carry it, and we always would just latch it onto the back of the backpack we make my husband carry, and so he'd carry around the empty bucket till we were like, hey, let's get more popcorn.
Yeah, and do they still have the different flavors, or is it just popcorn?
I don't know.
Because I remember the last time we did that, we had
That's
different
true. They did have
flavors.
a couple of different flavors.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know if that's
They're
a normal thing or if
typical
it was a
flavors,
seasonal thing.
but-
Yeah, I think wasn't there like a garlic or
Yeah.
something like that, or cheese? I can't remember. That might be a seasonal thing, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember that. I didn't even think about that part of it. I was just thinking about popcorn because I like popcorn. But yeah, so those are some of our favorite treats. I also I do really like the frozen. We've got like the Mickey bar, or the ice cream sandwich. I like the frozen ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah.
Those are some of our favorite. Okay, so another type of food, of course, you're going to get a quick service option. Quick services are anywhere where you can just go up and you order your food and then you go and take it to wherever you're going to sit. So kind of like a cafeteria style type almost. Either cafeteria style or, like I said, you order it, they pull it like a fast food almost. So quick service. One of the cool things about quick service, and we'll get a little bit more to it in a second too, but they've started, I don't know, a couple years back, mobile ordering. So if you use the Disneyland app, and you can go in, and not every single restaurant, although they're adding more and more all the time, you can go and pre-order your food, and you can you basically choose your restaurant, tell about what time you want to go and eat. So you can say, at 12:30 or whatever. It'll tell you some time options when they have available, and you order, and you can customize it. You can ixnay the tomato or extra cheese or whatever you can order your food, pay for it, and then when you're going to pick it up when it's time, you just say, okay, I'm here, and then you go to the pickup window and they'll have it for you. And so it saves so much time. One of the nice things about that is we would often send somebody then to go scout out the tables. Everything was already ordered, and we just had a couple of people go and get all the food, and then we take it back to the table, and it's just really convenient. The one drawback I'd say about mobile ordering is that you can't pay with a Disney gift card. So if you are using the strategy of prepaying for everything on your Disney gift card, you can't, you have to pay for it with a credit card, at least at this time. I'm hoping that that's an option that they'll add, but last I checked, it's not available. So you're going to be using your whatever credit or debit card that you have attached to your account will be how that form of payment goes. But it is super convenient and nice and quick. What do you have a favorite quick service?
So I think mine is they're the foods that they're only found at like that, what was that place called? The new thing at the Adventureland. Wasn't it like tropical
Hideaway? Hold on, I have to look because I know Hideaway, Tropical Hideaway.
Yeah.
It's in Disneyland, right next to the Jungle Cruise. It's new.
Yeah.
It used to be Aladdin's Oasis, and now it is the Tropical Hideaway, and it's fun. It's cool.
They have Dole Whip there, and so
They have special flavors of Dole Whip
that
there.
too.
Not just the pineapple. We
had like a raspberry pineapple.
Yeah, I think it was a swirl. Raspberry
it was a swirl.
pineapple swirl Dole Whip. That was really tasty.
Yeah.
But they also had other food there.
Yeah, they had like bao. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah, and that was really good.
Yeah.
And they were bigger than we expected. Right?
Yeah.
Those were good. Yeah. So that's probably your favorite quick service.
Yeah.
I have a hard time picking a favorite. I'm going to say the one that we go to the most is because it's just, and it's always for the same thing every time, is the Plaza Inn at the end of Main Street at Disneyland. Yeah. The fried chicken is so good there. It's really, really good. And it's a huge plate, and it's not cheap because it's like $17 or something like that, but it's enough that you can easily feed 2 people. If you have a bunch of littles, you could probably feed a few children, 3 children at least, doing that plate. So even though it is pricey, it goes a long way. Unless you're talking teenage or grown man, teenage boy or grown man, then they probably can eat their own plate. But for us, we share usually. Yeah. We pretty much always share. I think it's like 3 pieces of chicken, a mashed potato, and green beans, and a biscuit, or I think it's a biscuit. And anyway, so that's probably my favorite quick service. I don't know if I have a favorite quick service at Disney World. We do have more experience dining at the Disneyland parks. And like we said in our first episode, we're not exactly foodies. So we like trying different restaurants and stuff, but it's not like we focus so much on it that we remember every detail and we take pictures and jot down notes or anything like that. So this is just based off of what stuck with us and what we liked. Okay, so the next type of dining at the Disney parks is table service. And this is where you're going to go and you're seated. You have a waiter or waitress come and they take your order and they bring you your food, and this is where you would tip. It is appropriate to tip at table service dining in Disney parks. That is something that you should still be planning for when you're budgeting. There are a lot, and this is where you're really, especially because quick service, they do have variety. You can get salads, you can get pasta, you can get pizza, of course, and burgers and hot dogs like you would expect, but you can still get salads and some healthier options there, especially if you're looking, even in Disneyland Resort, there are places where you can get Chinese food, you can get Mexican food, but especially Epcot, of course, always has a whole world's worth of variety of types of food choices, and that includes in the quick service options. But Disney, or the table service, you're especially going to see a lot of good options. That's where you can really get into a variety. If you don't want your typical theme park food, you can have steak, you can have seafood, or even just better pasta dishes or salads and things. They recently, because of COVID in Disney World, have started using the mobile ordering for those as well. You can order mobile order to go from not necessarily all, but many of the table service locations there And so that's a new option. Don't know if that's going to stay when things go back to quote unquote normal. But for now, at Disney World, that's an option for when you're dining. If you couldn't get a reservation, then that's an easy, or if you just don't want to go and sit in a restaurant and you'd rather take it to go, you can do that through the mobile ordering on the app. In addition to or alongside with the table service, you got a wide range of pricing and options from what you would typically expect, but up to fine dining or signature dining. When you are at Walt Disney World, it's important to note, if you're using the dining plan, that these fine dining or signature dining restaurants are going to be worth more credits. Like I told you, each package has a different amount of credits that you can use. And so for those restaurants, you want to plan for double credits basically at those places. But you can get some really neat experiences staying at there, doing that kind of dining. We haven't done that. I don't think I have had some of the nicer dining at Disneyland, but I don't think I've ever done at Disney World, aside from maybe dinner shows. That is double credit, but I wouldn't necessarily call that fine dining. It's just a little bit more expensive dining. But anyways, I mentioned reservations. So for your table service at Disneyland, obviously right now they're closed. When they were open, and assuming that it stays the same as far as how they make reservations when they get back to, like I said, quote unquote normal, Disneyland, you can make your dining reservations up to 60 days in advance. And it is recommended for especially the nicer restaurants, the most popular restaurants, to do that, because they do sometimes fill up pretty quick. At Walt Disney World, you can do it 180 days in advance. Not currently, but traditionally, 180 days, that's 6 months in advance to choose where you're going to dine. And again, in a lot of those locations, you want to do it that far in advance, because they do book up, and it can be really tricky to get a reservation last minute if it's a more popular location, or if you have a larger group, or it's maybe it's a holiday weekend or something like that where it's going to be busier. So you'll want to make your reservations. You can make reservations on your app. You can make reservations online. You can phone in your reservations. If you book with a travel agent, which I do advocate, even though I'm no longer a travel agent, I totally support travel agents, and I advocate for them because I think they're an excellent resource for travelers. If you book with a travel agent, they'll make those reservations for you, which is a huge time saver, because sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes waking up extra early, especially if you're on the West Coast going to Disney World, which is 3 hours. You know, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. You're waking up to make your dining reservations right on the first day, and your travel agent will do that for you. So that's how you would plan for that. You can try last minute. And sometimes there's an opening, or maybe if they'll have you wait like an hour or something before they can squeeze you in. But if it's really important to you, make a reservation. Make it in advance. All right, so table service. Do you have a favorite or any memories or anything?
No.
No?
Not especially.
Not really? Do you remember when we went to like Carthay Circle? It was super fancy in Disneyland.
You might have to describe the place. I don't know.
Outside, it looks like it's that white, tall. It's a replica of like a theater that Snow White first debuted at, but it wouldn't necessarily look like a movie theater to you typically. Well, it does a little bit, old fashioned.
I'm getting confused.
At California Adventure Park. So yeah, so that's okay. If you don't have any memories of, you have done some table service, you just don't remember much. Do you?
I do. No, not that one. Okay. But I do remember the Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So I remember that.
Be our guest in Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Yes.
I remember doing that.
Yes, which is funny because that one's kind of split. It's sometimes a day it's quick service and sometimes a day it's table service. And I'm trying to remember if we went to lunch or dinner.
I think it was lunch.
Then it was probably quick service. So.
Are you sure? Because we did sit down.
Well, you do sit down and eat your food, but it was one where you ordered at the kiosk and then you go sit down. It wasn't that we sat down and that waiter came. Yeah. But it
Close
does
enough.
do table service. It depends on the time of day. So you get half a point for that one. I don't know if I have a very favorite table service, even though I knew we were going to talk about this and I could have a head start to thinking about it. My mind is going blank right now. I don't think of anything that totally sticks out at me as a favorite. I do. I lied. I totally do. And I would say it's Blue Bayou over at Disneyland.
Oh, I do remember.
Do you remember that? It's inside the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I already told you the Pirates is my favorite ride, so of course I love that restaurant. This is a little bit pricier. It's a special, in my book, it's a special occasion restaurant. Like if there's a special occasion, that's when I would warrant going there. It's not an every trip restaurant for us because, like I said, that's not usually our budget. But it is a neat atmosphere and it's pretty cool, and we just have some fun memories there, especially the last time we all went as a family. Our oldest daughter was there on a band and orchestra trip with her school performing, and so she was able to march with her marching band down Main Street and everything, and perform in her orchestra and everything. And that trip we went with some family members that were also there to watch her, and so that was a special trip.
Yeah.
That warranted the Blue Bayou. But okay, let's see. The next kind of dining we're going to talk about is character dining. Character dining is basically where, do you want to talk about, tell them what is character dining?
It's where it's a sit down, and usually like at some point during the meal, characters will come and visit you.
Yeah.
You get to meet with them.
Yeah. Currently, during COVID, they are not doing the character dining, but we anticipate it'll come back because it's highly popular, very, very, very popular. And they have a wide variety of types of character dining, so especially at Walt Disney World where they have so many more options. At Disneyland, currently, not quite as many options. There are 4 that I know of right now. Oh, five, sorry. 5 that I know of. Again, not right now because they're closed, and even if they weren't, they're not doing character dining at the moment. But they had one in Disneyland Park, which was Minnie Mouse and then her friends. So Minnie Mouse was guaranteed, and then what friends might come were not exactly guaranteed, but you'd have a group of other characters. And then each of the hotels that Disney has, which there are 3 Disney hotels at the Disneyland Resort, they each had at least one character dining. There's one that has Goofy as the host. There's one that has Donald as the host. There's one that has Mickey Mouse as the host. And then there's a kind of vamped up one for princesses. It's a little bit more high scale, a little bit more expensive, but that's a newer one. And that one's princesses at the Grand Californian. And so these character meals are a great way if you are interested in that kind of experience. We did a lot of them when the kids were younger.
Yeah.
Excellent way, because you want to sit down and take a break and have a meal anyways. But an excellent way to meet all these characters without standing in line. And so while you're eating, they come around, they take your picture with them, they sign your autograph book, give hugs. Again, not right now, but when we're allowed to hug each other again, I imagine they'll do that again. But anyways, it was really especially fun to do with the kids. Are you very interested in character dining anymore?
It's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't need to have a character dining.
So back when you were younger, of course, we always made sure to do princesses.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to go to a character dining, what type of character dining would you be interested in as a teenager?
I don't really know, actually. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, think about it.
I don't know if I'd have a preference.
Yeah. Now, I will say that every time I've gone only with an adult group, like when I've gone either with siblings or with my mom or other travel agents, pretty much we're all Disney obsessed. And so we were not ashamed of doing character meals, even just as adults, not having any children of any kind with us. Some adults have no problem doing it because they also are Disney obsessed. Some might feel a little awkward, like they're doing something that's for kids. I guess it depends on your comfort level. I'm really glad to hear that you're not totally outgrowing the character dining, because even though we don't have to do it all the time, it is fun to do once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. All right, and that's especially one that you're going to want to book in advance, whether you're at Disneyland or Disney World. You're going to want to, however far out you're allowed to book it, book it. Okay, so one of the other ways that you can do dining is through a special type of dining is dining packages. And they have like dessert parties, They have dining packages where you have your regular meal, but then along with that, you get basically like tickets to go see one of the shows without having to wait in as much of a line, or you have a preferred seating at a show or something like that. And so these tend to be a little bit more higher in price, but you're getting that extra benefit of having the convenience of not waiting in line or not having as big of a crowd or having preferred spot to watch this show. The dessert parties sometimes go along with the show, usually go along with some show, whether it's a fireworks display or World of Color, or I hope you can't hear that motorcycle that's going really loud past our house, even though the windows are closed up here. Anyways, or Fantasmic, which we brought our Fantasmic mugs because the last time Rory and I went to Walt Disney World, we were with my sister and her family, and we went and did the Fantasmic dessert package, which I think you said is your favorite of the dining packages we've done.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
also my only memory of one.
Oh, you've done them. You just don't remember. Even that time at Blue Bayou.
That's what I said.
Dining. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a package.
Exactly. Kids, sometimes it goes right over their head. They don't even know that that's what's going on.
It also was just me.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on.
Yeah. That was a really fun one. And if they keep doing the dessert package for Fantasmic, I would totally do it again. I think that was my best favorite way
That was awesome.
to have Fantasmic at Walt Disney World. They do not offer this at Disneyland. This is at Walt Disney World. At Disneyland, they do have dining packages for Fantasmic, and we do use those sometimes, and I also like them, and would probably do that just about every time we plan to watch Fantasmic. But this particular one was extra fun and special. Lots of yummy food, and it wasn't only desserts. They had like grapes and cheese and things like that too in our packet.
Yeah.
But when we showed up, they gave us a little...
strawberries. Oh, those are chocolate covered though.
Hey,
But
that
hey,
makes it even better.
They're strawberry.
Yeah. So we, when we showed up, they gave us a little packet, like a little to-go box that had all of our desserts, and we had a beverage. They had alcoholic as well as non-alcoholic beverages, but they came in these collectible mugs, souvenir mugs that we could take home, which obviously we did.
Yeah. They also came with lanyards, and I still have mine. It's just in a box somewhere in my room.
We moved less than a year ago, almost a year ago, but still less than a year ago, so we're excused for still having a couple things in boxes. Anyways, so these dining packages, special dining packages, again, you want to book or reserve in advance, but the catch on this one is it's not always consistent exactly when they come available. So you kind of just start calling when it's, first you check it like around 60 days out, and then you check around 45 days out, and then you start checking at like 35, 34, 33, 32 until you, whenever they're saying, yes, finally it's open, and then you can get your spot. So that's a little bit, I don't know, could be a little frustrating in a way because it makes it hard to plan ahead and makes it hard to know when to get in and make sure you've got what you're looking for. But be aware, that's how it is, or at least how it's been in the past. But it's worth doing if you can have it in your budget. It's a fun experience, and we really liked it. Especially, it's nice when you are, if you've got a large family, of course you've got to factor that in. But because the cost is a little bit higher, but it's fun to do for when you're there, just a couple people or a smaller family or special occasion. Okay, another way to do food at Disney, of course, is to bring in your own food. Something that not everybody knows is Disney does allow that. You can pack in your food. Now you cannot bring in hard, large coolers, like on the wheels and stuff like that. You're also not allowed to bring ice, which you wouldn't expect maybe. Even if you had a smaller one, you can't have ice in it. But that's okay because as soon as you get through the gates, you can go to a quick service and get ice and then put in your insulated bag or whatever, or just pack the dry or blue ice that you can have already frozen ahead of time. But anyways, yes, you can bring in snacks. What we often will do is have fruit or things like string cheese and stuff, string cheese frozen, or Go-Gurts frozen, or even water bottles you can freeze, and then stick those in your bag and then have that with your fruit that you've had in your fridge overnight. And they stay pretty nice and cool. Even when it's really hot, having it all together in your backpack keeps it nice and cool and refreshing. And then these make great snacks for later. You can do this with sandwiches, but I would be concerned about getting them squashed a little bit. So you might want to think about that. But we often will bring in snacks and food. You can pack in all of your food and not purchase any of the food that they have in the parks. It's totally doable. Some people do. They do have lockers near the front of the parks where you can store like those hard coolers outside, at least at Disneyland. I gotta say, I'm not as familiar with the Disney World layout for those parks, but at Disneyland, they have lockers right outside the entrance so that you can store that during the day while you're in the parks, and then come out, and they have picnic tables there, and you can have your lunch and then put it back in the locker and go back in and finish your day if you want. So there's definitely ways, whether you're just doing the supplemental snacks so you're not eating as much, or if you're doing all of the food so you're not paying for any, that's totally doable. And also at Disneyland, being such a small place and having the city really come right up to the edge of it, there are lots of food options just right off property. So like at McDonald's and Denny's and IHOP and things like that, literally just steps just across the street. So it's easy to get those kinds of convenience foods. Not going to be an option at Walt Disney World. There are restaurants outside of the parks, but they're still on Disney Resort property, and they're still in that bubble where you're talking Disney prices. So be aware of that. Anyways, I think that's about it. Did we say, let's see, we should talk about our shirts really quick because I'm sure everyone's very curious. And I think what I'll do is I'll pull up a couple pictures and put them on the YouTube video. So if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm going to put this on our Instagram and Facebook pages. But one of the trips that we took to Disneyland, do you want to talk about it? I've been talking most. You talk this time. Tell us about this.
One time we went to Disneyland with my cousins, her sister's family, and she made these shirts.
My sister made the shirts.
Her sister made the shirts. And so she asked everyone if they were Team Mickey Bar or Team Dole Whip. And
honestly, we're team both. I was like, can I have both? But we had to pick one to do for the activity for that trip. Yeah. And so what did we do?
I chose Mickey Bar.
Yeah.
And you chose.
And so the Mickey bars had varying shades of blue, and the Dole Whip shirts were varying shades of yellow and orange. And so we were kind of all complimenting one another. And during the day that we wore our shirts, we did what? With the song? Yeah.
We asked various Disney characters what they prefer.
Yeah, we would hold up, because some of them can't talk, because they don't have our types of faces. They're covered. And so we had two signs, and one would say Mickey Bar and one would say Dole Whip, and we just have them point to which one. So what do you recall about the outcome of any of that?
A lot of times they would say both.
Yeah, they couldn't decide. They would not commit. Most of them did not commit. Donald Duck committed. He did not like the Mickey bars. But Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse also committed because they did like the Mickey bars. So those were kind of what you'd expect. But as far as most of them, they didn't really commit. Most of them weren't gonna say one way or another. But it was still really fun. Yeah. And then we went, and Disney does. They have the photographers there, and we did some pictures of all us. We went and got our snacks. So everyone that voted Dole Whip had Dole Whips, and everyone who wanted the Mickey bars had Mickey bars. And we took our pictures with each team enjoying our treats, and it was just a really fun way to make another day at Disney just kind of extra fun and extra special. So we still have our shirts, and we thought since we're talking about the food at Disney, we'll wear our team shirts. So anyways, all right, well, we hope that you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving this week. Hope you eat lots of yummy food. Hope that you have lots of time with loved ones. I know that it's a little bit different. We unfortunately had to cancel our usual trip to spend time with family, and so we know a lot of you are facing that. We hope that you're able to find other ways to connect this week and to just appreciate and think about the things that you're grateful for. We're grateful for Disney. We're grateful for you, and just for this fun experience to share together as mother and daughter, and then also to share with you. And so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you.